I'm back. Hump. See this hump? Push hard on it. No more hump. This is kind of tricky. I'm just going to try and scooch in there a little bit. Dang. Well, blew up too big a balloon because that started failing. I wonder if that's just going to come off. Yep. Okay, finally got rid of that beast. And I can't really tell from the water staining. Well, I can too. It looks like it came all the way down here. That looks like fresh break, but that looks like it was cracked all the way down. Kind of irony looking. Okay, so you're like, okay, well, you still got a great point in there, right? Sure. Sure. All I gotta do is get rid of that square edge without losing any width. We'll be fine. We'll be good to go. Of course, I still got all that square edge too. All right, here's what we're making. We're making a drill. And notice I didn't say a big drill. There's half the square edge. Well, maybe a third. There's some of it. Okay, now this hit here, we want to raise this a little bit because we want a good flattening kind of thing happening right there. Oh yeah, that's perfect. See right there? We want that flat. Pushing on right here a little bit. Sinking it. You might wonder, well, aren't you being a little bit aggressive there and making that thing sink a lot and you got a funky shape? Yes. And you know why? It's very simple. I got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I'm freeze cracking you. Watch these flakes run. Very sorry, Mr. Bandit. It was necessary in the name of humor. You might say, oh, you did a hinge. I know, but I don't care about hinges right now. I care about contours. I got some contour issues. Okay, this thing about notching and people complaining about notching. Here's the deal. There's a bunch of different videos up by different people about different ways to do notching. In every instance, it is necessary that you not attempt to notch into a situation that you are not capable of having success. So, if you've done real good on notching flakes that are 5 millimeters thick and you get a wild hair to notch a 10 millimeter thick biface, it ain't gonna work. The other thing is, I think punch notching is highly overrated. And I'm probably going to get a bunch of non-likes and hate mail and my Christmas decorations all torn up for saying that. But here's the deal. More or less by default, when you punch notch, you're putting in more force and shock than is necessary to take the flake you want, and hoping that the platform is so right that it understands when to go and dumps all the excess energy with no harm done, and everything's cool. What are the odds of you always getting your platforms that perfect every time that they just go when they need to and no later? Am I saying don't punch notch? No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying if you want the odds tilted in your favor a little bit as to how likely things are to come out okay, then, you know, ramming something when you could push it may not give you the highest odds. Now, if you're saying to yourself, well, that's the way the old boy did it, and I'm going to do it that way. Okay. Not saying you're wrong. But I bet you if they'd had a bunch of copper, they wouldn't have done it so much that way because they wouldn't have needed to. Thing about antlers softer and broader tipped and mushier sometimes, and it just doesn't have the ability to generate gee whiz hard force with pressure as well as copper does. So if you're a copper napper, which I ain't saying you're supposed to be, I'd prefer everybody be abo nappers, including me. But my physicalities voted no, so it is what it is. And it ain't what it ain't. Well, I have this thing marginally under control. You may notice, as usual, I'm continuing to use a relatively large bopper, and I'm continuing blah, 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 to hit fairly smartly with it. And the reason for that should be patently obvious. It's still a tough rock, even though it's a smaller tough rock. Dang. Yeah. Now you might think that that there is still a problem, and you might be right. No, I'm kidding. Okay, watch. Right there, I'm gonna hit right there and drive along here. See what happens. So I'm supporting it all different kinds of ways, a couple of fingers along there, and drove down to there and started trying to dive because it was a little bit lower and just stopped. And you might think, well, that's a tragedy of epic. It actually ran a little further than it went. So you might say that's a tragedy of epic proportions. Nah. I did half of what I wanted to. That's, you know, better than none. All right, so now I about ran myself into the ground this year running around, going napping places and stuff. I'm not even sure how many times I went through Arkansas or was in Arkansas. I think I may be in Arkansas, have been in Arkansas like 5 times or so. I don't know. I was in Missouri twice. Even was up on the New York-Canadian border at Niagara Falls, where some tourists came up and asked me to get how to get to Canada, and I thought that was kind of amusing. All right. I could sit here for the rest of eternity whacking on this thing with direct, but really there's no point in me doing that because time I usually go to indirect. I focus so much on these videos and stuff on percussion because I've just felt that that was the thing that, other than notching, that was the thing that stymied people the most, that they wish they could do, and the most people didn't totally master to the extent they would like to. And I could just go make, you know, just completely go through and make a whole point out of this, but I don't know if there's a point in doing that, because that's the thing. One of the reasons I don't make videos that much anymore is kind of like, okay, what have I not shown that I know how to do? And the answer is darn near nothing. Well, that's not true, but we're not talking about the rest of that stuff. What to do. The whole excuse in making this thing was to try and remember the things that I hadn't talked about that I want to talk about. 3/8 inch punch. I've gone to hitting some of the 3/8 inch punch in Delrin instead of the 1/2 inch punch sticking out of Delrin. In part because the 1/2 inch punch is shockier. So anyway, this is all wrong. Edge failed. Like, is that burrs? Or was it a seam? We'll never know. Or did I just chew up the edge too much by rougher braiding it? This might be yet another one of them videos I don't upload. Tough rock, man. It's hard on some of this stuff, and I said this before, but it bears repeating. On some of this stuff, just the normal rules just don't work. You know, that set it up and get your conchoidal hit going and everything. Man, I just set it up. On the real tough stuff, I just hit it up, hit down, and make it run with support. That's all I do. 'Cause I haven't figured out. I mean, if I tried to just isolate every platform and stuff, I could get away with doing a more inward conchoidal strike without blowing up a big bulb and everything, but I'm still being messy and not worrying too much about what I'm doing, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to thin. And so if you look here, I've taken a bunch of hits over here, and they're all going to about right here, and it looks messy because it is, but I've still got enough thickness that I can get away with that. And I sort of did the same thing over here. This one I'd like to hit, but I don't know what it's going to happen. I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. There's already a hinge here, so by hitting into there on a platform, you still got a delta hanging off the bottom of it. It's kind of like asking for trouble. Which, you know, is kind of my idea of a good time. So here we go. So you think you've seen trouble. Yeah, you're looking at the man. Undercut it. The world's own original hard luck story, an all-time blueser man. Alright, so I guess I forgot to do the end. And so now the end is all thick and punctated. Darn my nose. So I am stepping down with a 1/4 inch so I can control it better with my engagement. Or see, I don't have the edges turned very far to one side or the other. So you say, well, you can't hit that. You'll end snap it. I'm like, this rock? You got to be kidding me. Where'd I go? I lost the rock. Oh. No, I mean, but you can still end snap this. I'm kidding. It's not un-end snappable. However, what I do with that crap is I stick it in my hand and I hold it together underneath. And that attenuates the downward force vector. Maybe. See? Now I like to think of that as a big old flute. You're like, well, how'd you do that without breaking it? Same way I do it every day of the week without breaking it if it's sun shining and I'm napping. There's nothing to it. That's the thing that just gets my goat, man. people all over the country are suffering unnecessarily with the agony of defeat over hitting on the ends of crap. And like, to me, hitting on the ends of crap is kind of like walking to the kitchen to get a bottle of water. It's fraught with peril if Moots is laying in wait, but otherwise ain't nothing to it. Got a little bit left there. Gone like Donkey Kong. That slipped off. Alright, so anyway, there's how that looks. Now, I mean, there is a trick to, you know, coming right up close to the center line but not getting up into the center line in the middle of your point and everything when you're doing this kind of thing. It's called practice. And it's like, you know, you do have to sort of have an eye for angle. But so now I've got to turn this a tiny bit up this other side. And I need to come in more too on the sides. That's low, so that's kind of an issue. But, you know, generally speaking, the way I like to think of this is, okay, this here is a demonstration point, right? Right. This here was not an expensive, high-grade, fancy, you know who you are out there kind of guy's rock. And so I can afford to risk big time and just wail on this sucker. Correct? Correct. And anything that happens when I do crap like that is either, wait, I'll be right back.